Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to another DC deck building game. This is for Teen Titans Go, which is a little bit obviously different than the normal DC deck building games, based on the cartoons. But it is more of the regular DC stuff than the Cartoon Network deck building game that's also from Cryptic Zoic. Because that usually tends to have a little bit more goofier aspect to the game. This just almost plays more of like a art kid friendly game version of the regular one. So in this video, we're gonna go over this. We're also gonna look at the Teen Titans Go expansion. We'll add this at the end of the video because it's not enough to do a separate video. But a couple things to mention in here is this is a standalone game, but it is also compatible with other DC deck building games. You can mix it in, and that's why it's different than the Cartoon Network ones. Although you can mix and match those as well, they have different terminology. This actually mixes better with the regular DC. But also to note, this is a two-player game. So picking up usually any of the other box sets, it's a four-player game. Or up to four players. This is a two-player game, but it's not like the Rivals or Confrontation ones, where it's two players, like, head-to-head versus. You're still playing the full game, you're just only getting to use two different characters at a time. And that being said, because also they only have enough starter cards for two players. So if you want to play Teen Titans Go with all four players, you have to potentially buy another full box set. To play it, because otherwise you wouldn't have enough starter cards. Now, there is kind of to the extent that you can use some of the basic cards in there. You could always replace some of the other starter cards with other cards from other sets as well if you wanted to. Yeah, so those are the big differences in there for that. Let's kind of just do a quick look over the rule book. I don't think there's only a couple other changes in here. Navigate the cards, we know all that stuff, so I'm not going to go over all this stuff if you're from like deck building. So, one thing is changed. You have 7 punch cards, 2 vulnerability cards, and 1 snack time card. So you lose a vulnerability to a snack time card, so you get a little bit different setup. And then we have in here the main deck. If you're playing the advanced game, also shuffle event cards into the main deck. Put your main deck near the middle of the game. So there are events that you can add to the game. This is kind of a fun extra thing to do too. And then the lineup, it says if an event appears, just replace them. Otherwise, your game's going to look like a normal DC deck building game. Your regular stacks of Teen Titan Goes, which will replace your kick cards, your weaknesses, and then your regular lineup. Except for one other big difference is up here is whatever characters you are not playing as, the rest becomes sidekicks. And this is why if you're playing a 4-player game, you wouldn't have a lot of sidekicks left. But these are guys you can recruit by doing different things to then add to your team. But then anytime anybody else does it, they'll jump over and help them. So the sidekicks are going to be bouncing around all over the place all the time. So that's kind of a fun extra mechanic. Otherwise, gameplay, all that stuff stays the same, doing that. Nemesis cards. When you defeat Nemesis, you'll get to remove 1 event card from the game. More events on page 10. So yeah, we gotta do some stuff there. Shuffling your deck, locations, gaining cards. Okay, here's events. Event cards, random happenings during the game that affect all players. As you might imagine, events from the Teen Titans Go universe can be random, wacky, and highly amusing. The event enters the lineup, read its text aloud, put it next to the Nemesis stack. Replace the event card with another card from the top of the deck. You should have 5 cards before you start your turn. Event cards next to the Nemesis are not part of the lineup, are never bought, but all players must do what they say. There can be any number of events in play at once. Players should read the text on the events next to the Nemesis each turn to make sure they're following the restrictions revolving those cards. When it is not your turn, you are an official member of the event police and should make sure the active players resolving the events appropriate. To get rid of events, defeat a Nemesis. Then you can decide which one. So if you end up with 3 of them out, you can decide which one you get rid of. Yeah, it's very simple there. Then we also have weaknesses, which change up a little bit too. Weaknesses cannot be purchased or only gained from certain card effects. When you gain a weakness, take top card of the weakness stack, put it in your discard pile. Later, draw the weakness in your hand. They must be played during your turn before you can play other non-weakness cards. You may not play any other cards while there are weakness cards in your hand. You may choose to end your turn with weakness cards in your hand. So if you have a bunch you don't want to play any weakness cards, you could just end your turn, but then you don't get to play anything. And the weakness cards in here, unlike the regular deck building game, all have different effects on them. So there's kind of a... Yeah, so there are different things that are going to affect you, so they're kind of fun there. And then the Sidekick rule. So all of you guys are set aside on your team. You have full access to all their abilities. So all sidekicks have a recruit condition at the top of their box highlighted in yellow. If you play a card or perform an action listed on a sidekick recruit, you convince that sidekick you're a better leader and they join your team. Sidekicks can get your team whether they're still out of play or currently on a foe's team. So if you play two superpowers, Beast Boy join your team. Doesn't matter where he's at. And there's some challenge variants you want to add, additional weaknesses or marathon by adding more nemesis, combining with other games. So with mixing other sets, we recommend each player use a character from that set, and they put a number of Teen Titan Go sidekicks equal to the number of players plus 1. So if you're playing, for example, the full big box set of Teen Titans with Teen Titans Go, use the characters from Teen Titans, because then their abilities will work with the rest of the core set. If you're using this as your core set, and you just want to mix some of the Teen Titans stuff in there, you can do it. So I'll try to do any number of use characters. Let's say you're missing. Randomly assign each one an unused Teen Titan Go sidekick. The recruit text on a sidekick becomes a recruit of that character. Once recruited, you can only get the ability of that character, not the sidekick. So that's the idea. Is basically it's like, so what that's saying is I could go through and, let's say I'm not using Beast Boy, I could put him under a regular Batman character, and now I can pay this to recruit that Batman. And then basically I'm not using Beast Boy's ability, I'm just using that card to play Batman. Then we have stuff for the multiversal box set, just the dividers. Yeah, so that's about it for that. So yeah, then we have our multiversal stuff. We have our oversized divider, our regular divider, and our randomizer. So in case you want to randomize this into the multiverse universe. And then let's take a look at our characters. Hop right into this. I got my cards and my camera in a weird spot, so they're not lining up right. Alright. You guys have to move over here. Sorry, I have this position bad. We have Robin. So it says, if you control a hero and an equipment, plus 1 power and draw a card. I'm going to flip them over right away. Look at his recruit side. Sidekick. So if you play 2 heroes, if you control a hero, you get plus 1 power. We have Beast Boy. Each time you play a superpower, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Just cycle your deck a little bit better. On his side, if you play 2 superpowers, recruit them. If you control a superpower, or plus 1 power. Raven. If you control 2 or more villains, you get plus 2 power. And play 2 villains. If you control a villain, you get plus 1 power. For Starfire, if you control a hero and a superpower, you may destroy a card in your hand. So she'll help you fix your deck. And then for play 2 cards with a cost of 1 or 2. If you control a card with a cost of 1 or 2, plus 1 power. Cyborg, if you control 2 or more equipment, plus 2 power. And then we have recruit with playing 2 equipment. If you control equipment, plus 1 power. And then we have one more sidekick here, or character. We have Kid Flash, who's the promo. So this is part of the first printing box set. So just, again, make sure you look on the bottom. It will say if you get a card, if it's available or not. So that way you know if you're getting him or not when you're buying it. Each time you gain a card from the lineup during your turn, you add the top card of the main deck to the lineup. And if we flip him over, we get another sidekick. It says, recruit, draw 3 more cards during your turn. If you control 7 or more cards, plus 1 power. So that's fun, just to give us an extra little character for that. Then let's take a look at who you're fighting. Let's look at our basic cards first. Let's do that. So we have our punches. We have 7 for each. So we have 14 total. And guys, I like when they started doing this in some of the starter deck cards, telling you how many go in each deck. That way, it's a quick reminder. We have 4 copies of a vulnerability, for 2 in each deck. Then just kind of clog up your deck. And then we have 1 snack time for each player. Put a weakness from your discard pile on the bottom of the weakness stacks. This is a way to get rid of your weaknesses. And then we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 copies of Teen Titans Go. So this works like the kick card, except it's just a starter. It says +2 power. Defense, return this card from your hand to Teen Titan Go stack to avoid an attack if you do draw a card. So this is also kind of a fun one that could be introduced or added into just any other game if you wanted to. Because it acts as a starter and not a kick like it's a superpower. It's not going to trigger a lot of other people's abilities. But the fact of having a defense card that you can buy all the time is not even a bad idea either. That's something that I love about this game. Every time they introduce new sets of different like perma stacks like this, or weakness cards, or stuff like that, it's just fun because you could add those into other games and have them out there. You could have 4 different piles of permanent build buy cards, which just give people more options. Yeah, I get it could be frustrating for some people, for analysis paralysis, but it still could be very interesting. Alright, let's look at some of our villains. So we're going to start with the Nemesis. So I love how they actually just say Nemesis on here instead of villain. I kind of wish that was a thing they just turned them into, is instead of them also being known as heroes or villains, they're always just Nemesis and then super villains, but it's what it is. You can't go back and retroactively change every old card. So you have +3 power. If you have no sidekicks on your team, draw a card. We have Seymour. With the top 2 cards of your deck, the top 2 cards of the main deck, gain 1 of them, put the other, and put it in your hand, return the other. First appearance attack. Each player puts a card of the VP value of 1 or greater into their hand on top of their deck. The Brain. +3 power. Put a villain from your discard pile into your hand. First appearance attack. Each player gains a weakness for each nemesis in their hand and discard pile. Gizmo. +3 power. Put an equipment from your discard pile into your hand. First appearance attack. Each player discards an equipment if you cannot gain a weakness. Jinx. +3 power. Put a superpower from your discard pile into your hand. First appearance attack. Each player discards a superpower if you cannot gain a weakness. Billy Numerous. Reveal and draw the top 2 cards of your deck. If their combined cost is 3 or less, repeat this effect once. First appearance attack. Each player destroys the card with a cost of 3 or greater in their hand or discard pile. Mammoth. Destroy up to 2 cards in your hand, +2 power for each card destroyed this way. First appearance attack. Each player discards a villain. He cannot gain a weakness. Brother Blood. +3 power. Put a hero from your discard pile into your hand. First appearance attack. Each player discards a hero if he cannot gain a weakness. And then finally we have Trigon. Recruit a sidekick, steal a sidekick from a foe. First appearance attack. Each player loses a sidekick if he cannot gain a weakness. So, interestingly enough, only the first and the last cards on here actually mention sidekicks, or anything that's unique to this game. So that means you could potentially use any of these villains in any other game without using the Teen Titan Go sidekick effect and still be able to play as them. So I kind of like when they have stuff like that as well. I like it's fun when they reference the cards and the new special abilities, but it's also nice when they don't, so you can mix and match them more. Alright, we're going to take a look at weaknesses quick. So we have kittens. So weaknesses get you 0 victory points, but they clog up your hand and you have to play them first. So this will get you -2 power for the turn. We have silence. Reveal the top card of the main deck. You cannot buy cards from the lineup this turn with the same cost as revealed card. Busy. You cannot buy or defeat villain and nemesis cards this turn. Stranded on an island. Lose a sidekick. Flattened. Put a card from your hand on the bottom of your deck. Lazy. Choose a foe. Pass a card from their discard pile to your hand. Hungry. At the end of this turn, if you do not control a snack time, draw 2 fewer cards when drawing your new hand. Overeating. Your hand must be empty before you buy cards this turn. You must buy the highest card cost you are able to this turn. Mutation. Other cards you play this turn have no card type. They keep their color, though. And then the naughty list. You may not play more than 3 different cards this type this turn. This counts as 1. Crazy. Alright, now let's look at the rest of the main deck. So we got some heroes to play with. We're going to have some guys join us. We have Wally T. +1 power for each sidekick on your team. Silky, you may destroy a punch in your hand. Sticky Joe, +1 power. If Beast Boy is on your team, put a superpower from your discard pile into your hand. Beatbox, +1 power to build the top card of your deck. If it is an equipment, draw it. Otherwise, you may discard it. Missiminos, +1 power. High five a foe. You and each of that foe draw a card. So this is going to be one of the few times you're going to get the Cartoon Network kind of goofy interactions. Again, you can just be like, I don't want to do the physical action of high-fiving someone. So just hey, you and me draw a card if you want. We have Zan, +2 power if you control Janna. Draw 2 cards. And then we have Janna. It says the other Wonder Twin. +2 power if you control a superpower. Draw a card. Kind of dumb that it's if you control one, do this, and if you control the other one, do that. It would kind of been better if like one did the other one. They triggered off each other. We had Kid Flash, draw 2 cards and discard 1 of them. Now this is kind of funny here. We have Collinger So this is Aqualad from the Teen Titans, from the original Teen Titans or Young Justice series. Like some of the crossovers. +2 power, defense. Discard this card to avoid an attack. If you do, draw a card and an additional card for each sidekick on your team. We have Superboy, +2 power, defense, discards to avoid an attack. If you do draw a card, you may destroy a card in your discard pile. Bumblebee, +2 power. If you control 2 or more cards with a cost of 0, and an additional +1 power. We have Speedy, +2 power, and a +1 additional power for each equipment you control. Miss Martian, +2 power, defense. Discard this card to avoid an attack. If you do, draw a card, and if both of your choice gains a weakness. Aqualad, if you control another superpower, +4 power, otherwise +2. And then Batman, +2 power if you control equipment, recruit a sidekick. So I think something that'd be fun with this could be it'd be fun if they made, they do have the little mini expansion that they came out with. I'd almost love another big box set with more characters in it. Obviously, it'd be like you kind of almost want, if it's going to be a standalone game, you have to have the core characters, but they could do like weird alternate versions of each of the different main characters to give you just an alternate different version to play as if you kind of need, but then add more of like the more obscure characters in there, plus like then the Teen Titans crossover with the other shows, which would be kind of fun. Just add more goofiness like that. I would love it. We have some villains. We have Kitten, +1 power if Robin is on your team. Defense, discard. Discard to avoid an attack if you do draw a card. We have Perry if there are 15 or more cards in your discard pile, +3 power, otherwise 1. Killer Moth, +1 power, and choose a foe. That foe gains a weakness. Twin Destroyers of Azarath. Draw a card, you may destroy a card in your hand. If you do, each other player may destroy a starter in their hand. Cinder Block. Draw 2 cards and then discard 3 cards. Mad Mod, +1 power. Attack each foe loses a sidekick. Mumbo Jumbo, +2 power and +1 additional power for each sidekick on your team. Plasmus, +2 power. You control a Cinder Block, attack. Each foe gains a weakness. That's fun when we have villains that work together. Terra, draw a card. You may pass Terra to opposed discard pile. If you do, gain a location that player controls and put it in front of you. Monjur Mala, +2 power and +1 additional power for each other villain you control. I do wish that he had a thing that said if the brain is out from the villains, super villain stack, that you got some effect. That would have been kind of fun. Mother May I, +2 power and choose a foe. Attack, steal a sidekick from that foe. Ravager, +2 power, attack, each foe discards a card for each sidekick on their team. Blackfire, +2 power, attack, each foe loses a sidekick. Dr. Light, +2 power, attack, each foe discards a card that costs a 5 or greater. And then Slade, +2 power, attack, each foe gains a weakness for each sidekick on their team. Then we have some superpowers. So I think what's really interesting about this is every card is different. They have no duplicate cards outside of the starter stuff, as opposed to most core games when it's usually lots of 2, 2, 2, 2, and then like a 1, 1, 1 for like the last couple. So you have Dark Portal. So superpowers are going to represent a lot of Raven and Beast Boy's abilities with a couple of Starfire, and then the equipment are going to be a lot of the Cyborg Robin stuff. So you have Dark Portal. It says, reveal the top card of your deck. If it is a puncher on your ability, destroy it. Hummingbird form. Draw a card and then discard a card. Dark Kinesis. +1 power. If you have a sidekick on your team, you may put cards you gain this turn on top of your deck. Dark Shadow. +1 power. If you have no sidekicks, draw a card. Beaver form. +1 power, you may put a card from your discard pile on the bottom of your deck. Dark Magic, +2 power, if Raven is on your team. Play a card in the lineup and then return it. Gorilla form, +2 power, if you have a sidekick on your team, you may just try to start in your hand or discard pile. Snake form, +2 power, if Beast Boy is on your team, attack, each foe gains a weakness. Elephant form, +2 power, and +1 additional power for each other superpower you control. Magic Clone, choose a hero or villain you control, play it again. Flight, +2 power, if Starfire is on your team, an additional 2 power. Eye Beams, choose a foe and play the top card of that foe's deck, then return it. If that card has a 0 cost, draw a card. Super Strength, +3 power. Cheetah form, draw 2 cards. And then Starbolts, +2 power, Starfire's on your team. Wheel the top card of the main deck, additional +1 power equal that card's cost. It's kind of fun, these extra ones that have the bonus for having certain characters. Then we have Cape for equipment, +1 power, you may put a card from your hand on top of your deck. Extendable Head, reveal the top card of your deck. If it costs 3 or less, draw it. Missile Man, +2 power. If Cyber is on your team, you may destroy a card in the lineup. If you do, replace it. The Grapple Gun, +1 power. Defense discards winning attack. If you do, draw a card and put it from the lineup on top of the main deck. Blaster, if you control another equipment, +3 power, otherwise +1. The Dodgeball Launcher, +2 power, Cyber is on your team. You may pass a card from your hand or discard pile to a foe's discard pile. Birdarangs, +1 power and draw a card. Teen Titans Communicator, all good, bro. +1 power, you may create a sidekick at the end of your turn, lose it. The Key Car, +2 power, and additional +1 for each hero you control. The Meatball Launcher, +2 power with a top card of your deck. You may pass it to a foe's discard pile. Spellbook, +2 power. If Raven is on your team, draw 2 cards. Jetpack, +1 power. Draw 2, then discard 2. Crystal Prism, plus power equal to the number of different types you control. Bow Staff, +2 power. If Robin is on your team, you're considered to have each sidekick in the game on your team this turn. And then the Titans Robot. 2 power, and draw a card for each sidekick on your team. And the last of the main deck cards, we have some locations. So, of course, we have to have Titan Tower. Ongoing, if you have 1 or more sidekick plus 1 power. The Trash Hole. Ongoing, each time you are attacked, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. The Hive Tower. Ongoing, once per each of your turns, you may lose a sidekick. If you do, draw a card. And Jump City. Ongoing, the first time you play a card at the cost of 1 or 2 each turn, draw a card. Alright, then the last thing we have in here are our event cards, which do have the regular backs in there, because they're mixed into the deck. So you have April Fool's Day. Ongoing, each time a player gains a card with the top card of the main deck, then reveal card matches a card type of the card they gain. They also gain a weakness. Laundry Day. Ongoing, at the end of each player's turn, they choose a color, put all cards they control of that color on the bottom of their deck. Christmas. Ongoing, each time a player gains a card at the cost of 5 or greater, that player chooses a foe to draw a card. Turned into Babies. Each player's superhero is put to its sidekick side until this event is removed. When the event is removed, each player regains their original superhero if it is not currently on their team. Could be interesting there, because, I mean, someone could steal your main character. Cooties. Each time a player gains a weakness, they lose a sidekick. And then Double Crossed. Ongoing, each time a player plays an attack, they also resolve an attack against themselves. Yeah, so a lot of really interesting, fun stuff in that set. Again, a lot of interesting new cards. Nothing like game-breaking attacks. It's a sidekick thing which gets tossed around a bunch, which is kind of a fun thing to do. And they could even add that mechanic into the base game if they ever wanted to. Alright, then we have the brand new Teen Titans Go expansion, which is going to add a handful of new cards to the game. So we'll hop into here, and we have this little updated rule cards for some of the stuff. So it says this expansion includes new content, add your deck Teen Titans Go deck building set, as well as some game changes made in the last printing. So the rule book you have might actually, depending on which printing of the game you have, might actually be fine. So it says, players now use start after 7 punch, 2 round ability, and 1 snack time only. So this fits in with the set that I just showed off, because mine was a newer printing, because I just bought it now with the current Kickstarter add-on. But if you had the original one, you may have had slightly different rules. For a shorter game length, use only 4 Nemesis cards. Updated game plates, events after removing events from the lineup. Replace it if you gain one. Place it next to their sidekicks. You only use sidekick ability once per turn, even if you lose it, and recruit it again the same turn. And weaknesses, you might use the ability on your character, ongoing cards while there's a weakness in your hand. You may buy cards where you have a weakness in your hand, and you may end your turn while you have a weakness in your hand. So you can't play any other cards, but you can use abilities that are already on the table. So you could have a character ability and a ongoing ability that lets you gain power, and you can still buy a card before you even play a weakness. Then you can always end your turn. Alright, so let's just start off right away. We're going to have, they gave us 4 brand new vulnerability cards. And it says it's still 2 only in the starter deck. And I'm guessing the only reason they gave us more was probably because the original base game must have had you playing with only 1 vulnerability, and I think they updated it to 2. So that's just what's happening there. Then we have a special sidekick to Silky. So this could also be a fun way to do the sidekicks without doing extra full cards. Recruit, play 4 cards with different card types. You control 5 cards with different powers plus 1. So this does not end up being a full playable character. Can recruit as any of their sidekicks just using their recruit effect. So yeah, if they made another big expansion, this might be a cool way, like, if they don't want to make playable versions because they want to make sure you can play as all the main 5 Titans, they could make sidekick cards like this for, like, Aqualad, Speedy, Terra, a bunch of those other cards. It could be kind of interesting. Might even be interesting to do, sidekicks are some of the villains, right? That have like negative effects. Like you play 2 cards or you play a certain thing, and like, oh, now Slade joins your team, but now he's gonna have a detrimental effect to you. And maybe you have to do something to like get rid of him. So that could be an interesting concept as well. Alright, so we do have some new weaknesses. We have Shocked. Put a card that costs 0 from your discard pile on top of your deck. And Scorned. She says you cannot gain sidekicks this turn. We have 2 new events. We have Waffles. Ongoing, the first time each player says the word other than Waffles during each of their turns, they gain a weakness. So it's a little goofy one. And then the League of Legs. Shall I get jacked up legs in this episode? Ongoing, each player must put all cards they gain, including weaknesses, at the bottom of their deck. So then it's on the bottom there. Cool. And we have some new villains to fight against. So these are some higher cost ones. Giant Robotic Alien. You may destroy up to 2 cards in the lineup to replace them, then +1 power for each different card amongst the cards in the lineup. First appearance attack, each player discards an ongoing card they control if he cannot gain a weakness. And then we have the Cavity Demon. +3 power with the top card of your deck. If it costs 0, destroy it, otherwise return it. First appearance attack, each player gains a weakness and puts it in the bottom of their deck. And then we have some regular main deck cards. We have the Rocket Launcher. Draw a card of Cyborg design your team. Each foe cannot avoid this card's attack. Attack, each foe gains a weakness. Starfire's Diary. +1 power of the top card of your deck. Discard it or return it. If Robin's on your team, draw a card. It's kind of fun. We're getting another card that involves each character, which is really fun. Sparkle Face and Butterbean Heroes. +1 power and draw a card. If Raven is on your team, you may destroy a weakness or vulnerability in your hand or discard pile. Susan, you may lose a sidekick. If you do, +3 power. If you choose not to, +1 power. And that could be a way to... Cards like this could be ways to get rid of some of them guys. Tamaranian Princess. +2 power. If Starfire is on your team, you may put a card from your discard pile on top of your deck. And Octopus Form. +2 power. Defense. This card is to avoid an attack. If you do, draw a card and if Beast Boy is on your team, gain a card with a cost of 3 or less in the lineup. And then some villains. We have a Gizmobot. +2 power. If you have a sidekick, attack each foe gains a weakness. And Sandwich Guardian. +2 power. If you control 4 cards, including this, with different types, draw 2 cards. So yeah, a lot of fun stuff in there, and that's just what we have. So that is the Teen Titans Go box set and the little mini expansions. I think it's really fun. Extra games if you want. If you're interested in the deck building game and maybe for a younger audience, this might be something you could jump into, or if you really like the series, just a quick 2-player game. Again, I think it'd be kind of fun if they made another full box set with this, with the again, alternate versions of the main heroes. I would love if just the main heroes were the other characters, but I get that it might be hard to sell it that way as a standalone expansion when you're not getting to play as the main characters. But even maybe you could do that and have them all just be sidekicks. And then be like, oh, have more of the small sidekick cards for each one of them, and then maybe not have the big ones moving around all the time, just little mini cards. That might be an interesting way to do that as well. Just reprint all the backs of these guys as smaller cards, and then you just have the big ones. That could be fun. Again, having villains in there, adding more stuff with this has to play the colors of cards or card types. That'd be a fun extra mechanic to add into there. Plus, there's been crossovers with, again, the other series, like the more adult Teen Titans series, or Young Justice, possibly. Yeah, just doing some of that stuff, like the crossovers with those things, might be a little fun, interesting little gimmick into the game. Even though, like, they have some of the other DC games have the double lineup, so maybe that might even be another thing you can even do as your own alternate mode to play the game. is like a multiverse mode where you have Teen Titan go on one lineup, your main deck, and then have like the second game if it has more stuff from like maybe a mini deck just from like one of the other series, or even just take the Teen Titans game from the core set. You have the big box set and have that be a secondary lineup like you can buy from either one of them. Yeah, so it'd be really cool stuff we can do in there. Plus, it'd be fun to see some of the more goofy characters. I know, like, Superman appears in there at some point. Trigon at one point has his dad's sweater on. That might be a fun version to play for or against. Or, again, they can always do a second set where you get to play as the villains against the Teen Titans. And have you getting to play as, like Slade and Ravager and Terra and stuff. Maybe even make Terra like a double-sided card, or there's a lot of stuff they could do if they want to push into this. It might be too late because the original series is off the air and the new one is a little bit too goofy. So maybe that would fit more into the Cartoon Network deck building game versus this DC part. But it'd still be interesting. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Check out all the other videos in the link in the description for the stuff that came in the Arkham Asylum Kickstarter. See you guys later. Bye.